God of War, arguably one of PlayStation's best rated series loved by many, I will be tackling the story and graphical masterpiece that is the 2018 installment God of War. With a total of 37 trophies, some that challenge our combat capabilities, collectible trophies that will test our treasure hunting skills, and then finally some winged goddesses that require slaying. Now this is going to be no easy task, but myself and the boys are ready for what's to come. Welcome to God of War's Platinum playthrough. The game starts us off with the ghost of Sparta himself, as Kratos caresses this hand-printed tree before cutting it down. He is accompanied to this boat by his son called Atreus, but we all know him by a far more common name.
Boy, this way, boy.
The two of them ride the boat back to their home, where we see a wrapped-up body laying motionless on the table. Now, this was Faye, the wife and mother to both of them, as we see the wood that we got earlier was used as kindle for her cremation. Whilst Faye's body is still burning, the two of them choose to go on a hunt since Atreus is needing some more training. Now, they do manage to find a deer pretty quickly, but Atreus messes up his first shot, so he clearly needs more training than we thought. So this tutorial-like section has us fighting our first enemies of the game, that being the Draugr. You get taught the basic controls like light and heavy attacks, along with a basic dodge and a little bit of parrying, which I'll want to perfect if I'm going for this platinum. We managed to catch up to the deer, and this time with some much more focus and precise aiming, Atreus hits a clean shot on it before putting it out of its misery. With a sense of accomplishment, the two of them get jumped by this menacing looking ogre, so unfortunately that hunt wasn't a success. So with this being our first official boss of the game, you can guess how it probably went. But third time's a charm as we best the beast and break its neck, before Atreus loses his cool and gets a little bit of payback on it. Seeing that he is clearly not ready, they decide to return home for the day. Kratos proves that Atreus needs to keep his anger under control if he is to improve. But as they do so, they hear a very faint voice outside. Kratos answers the door to this stranger and orders him to leave his home, but he insists on starting a fight with him. So like any father, we choose to stand our ground. Now surely compared to Kratos, we can snap this toothpick easily, right?
My turn.
Yeah, it turns out this stranger is not what he seems, as we pummel him with hundreds of punches, but that doesn't make a difference as he can also heal himself. So we try a slightly different tactic as Kratos uses his Spartan rage to become even more powerful, but even that isn't enough. Although we do get the upper hand as we manage to crush the stranger's body, we hobble away, but he manages to jump us for a third time with no intent of backing down. For a third and final phase of this boss fight, and after many more axe slashes, Kratos grabs him and ends up snapping his neck, killing him as he rolls off the edge to the depths below. Damn, not even an hour in, and these are the sorts of boss fights the game is throwing us already? Checking on Atreus and seeing that he is alright, the two set off on their journey to the top of the mountain, which also unlocks my first trophy of the game, The Journey Begins. So the reasoning for why we stored Faye's ashes in that pouch is because before she died, she actually requested for her ashes to be scattered at the highest peak in Midgard. Now, throughout the game, as you explore, you'll find various different objects and items to interact with. For example, like this legendary chest, which actually contains a runic attack gem. These are added abilities that work with our axe, but it also gives us the nice moves trophy for finding my first one. You'll also meet other people along the journey, like this very well-mannered and politely spoken chap called Brock.
Can't get this slow-eyed cocklump.
He immediately takes an interest into our axe, as he is apparently involved in the making of it. So being a blacksmith himself, he can actually upgrade our axe along with many other items and armor that we will obtain later on. Speaking of obtaining, I do choose to craft a new bit of chest armor, and then upgrading it to level 2, I got the Dwarven Ingenuity trophy. Then because of that upgrade, it also allows me to add an enchantment to it, again allowing to become even stronger, and doing so unlocking the Enchanted trophy as well. Leaving Brock with his wares, the pair come across a boar, and with Atreus' training coming into play, the arrow connects but weirdly bounces off. Agreeing that there might be a magical aspect at play here, he tries a second time and lands it, then chasing it shortly after. We end up finding a woman tending to the boar since it's actually a friend of hers, hence why it was magical. And since this is our doing, we decide to help and carry the boar back to the witch's house, which is located under this massive turtle. Well, that's one way to keep your home hidden, I guess. After helping her heal the boar, she thanks us by giving us a compass, a new exit out of here, and the trophy A New Friend. We then manage to find another boat as we take it out to the Lake of Nine, which in a way is the main hub-like area in the game, since it will connect all the various different areas we go to later on. Doesn't look like much at first, but that all changes as we meet one of the most badass characters in the God of War series.
Is this?
It's the world serpent.
This is Jormungandr, or commonly known as the World Serpent, who rests in the lake, and because there is so much of him, as he moves he lowers the water which reveals the temple that was once submerged.
Oh, that must be why the beach wasn't there before, see?
Arriving at this temple, which is actually called Tyr's Temple, this is where you'll find Brock's shop, and along with his normal upgrades and purchases, he also gives us a key of Yggdrasil, which allows us to use any of these magic doors to fast travel back to his shop. We say goodbye to Brock as we continue towards the mountain where, funny enough, we actually run into his brother Sindri, a much more timid and shy person compared to Brock, plus he's a massive germaphobe.
Oh, is that dried blood?
He notices the act of vandalism that Brock has done to our axe, so he improves it even more. A nice running sequence that will keep happening throughout the game, but hey, if that means our axe is more powerful, then I ain't complaining. Arriving at the mountain's base, there appears to be some sort of black mist, which is preventing us from pushing onwards. Then the witch shows up to tell us that only the light of Allwhel will dispense the mist, so we return back to the temple. With the strength of 1,000 men, we manually rotate the temple so it's connecting with the gate to Alfheim. Since deeper inside the temple, we find the World Tree. This allows us to travel between realms, but only if we have a Bifrost. Luckily, the witch has one, so she gives us hers since she won't be needing it, because as we enter Alfheim, she unfortunately gets pulled back into the temple. So it's their job to fix whatever trouble's going on in this realm. Reaching the Lake of Light, we spot the light of Alfheim beaming into the sky, but to get there we must rid the temple of this weird-ass tentacle stuff that is blocking some of the light paths for us to progress. This is because of the war that's going on between the Light and Dark Elves, in which the Dark Elves are currently winning, so we come across many of them throughout our journey. Along with them, we also run into this superior-looking Dark Elf, who does try to stop us, but as we gain the upper hand, he retreats. Good thing he does though, since we also have this Stone Ancient boss to deal with. Now, as tough as these guys look, doing enough damage to its core before then stunning it and punching the absolute shit out of it, we managed to put it down without any trouble. Reaching the light of Alfheim, you can see that it's completely infested with the elves, as they made a massive hive to stop the light from ever returning. Of course, we put a stop to this as we get swarmed by hundreds of dark elves, who do get lucky enough to defeat us once. But that doesn't stop us as we reach the light and step into it. Experiencing some weird looking flashback of past events, we get pulled out of it to a pretty irate Atreus, since it seems like those mere seconds were actually much more, as proven by the countless amount of elf bodies that Atreus had killed. But now with the light of Alfheim embedded into our Bifrost, we are now able to return to Midgard. Returning to the surface, we open up the main door from the other side, which lets the light elves return home, which this also gives us the Feels Like Home trophy along with it. Just as we thought we were about to make it out of the trench, we get ambushed by that dark elf that we encountered earlier. Sortal Yu? Yep, definitely smashed that. As easy as this boss is, he can be very annoying, as if you get hit by one of these projectiles, it limits your vision, and if this area wasn't already dark enough, this just makes it worse. But as I said, he doesn't prove to be too much of a problem, as we pierce him with his own staff, hopefully putting a stop to this elven war and killing him. Now, just a side note, along the way, as you run into the two brothers, they will have favors for us to do, which as much as we would love the rewards we get for doing them, they also go towards a trophy at the end, so make sure you keep on top of them. Along with that, there are these spirits that also give us side favors to accomplish as well, some leading us to new areas, like this one called Veithagard, which upon fully exploring it, we get the trophy Death Happened Here. This location is also one of 3 places that has a dragon imprisoned, each having 3 anchors that need to be broken to release them. Once all 3 are done, we will get another trophy, but that will be much later on, so we release Otyr and progress onwards. We return all the way back to the mountain's base, which we are now able to pass through the Dark Breath and eliminate it completely, allowing us to enter the mountain to ascend its peak. We take this makeshift elevator up towards the top, but end up getting ambushed by a bunch more Draugr, and they are the least of our worries. Horeslir clearly doesn't want us to get to the top, but after he destroys our only way up, he retreats away. For some unknown reason, Sindri is already up here as he hides himself away from the beast, so after some persuasion from Atreus, we choose to help him. Now, this boss can be a little bit of a bitch, especially on the harder difficulties, since he can do a lot of damage with his lightning attacks. The main way of hurting him is to use these red cluster bombs to stun him when his mouth is open, then slicing at the weak points on his head until you do enough damage to get him down to critical health. We managed to get the Dragon Slayer trophy for killing him, but don't get me wrong, it's a cool ass boss fight, but we did kind of just walk into its home and kill it. You gotta feel a bit sorry for it. Now, with nothing else blocking our path, we reach the snowy mountain top as we hear a bunch of voices deep in conversation. One of them being the stranger from the start, who turns out we didn't didn't actually kill him, and 2 other unknown people. As they finish their talk and leave, we get to meet the smartest man alive, Mimir, who was imprisoned for over 100 years by Odin, hence why he is attached to this tree. Mimir says that he knows the way to Yenheim and that his schedule is wide open to help us. Only thing is, we have to kill him and bring his head back to the witch, hopefully to reanimate it. So with one clean slice, we tie him up as we head back to the woods. Lucky thing for us is that the witch can revive Mimir's head. Now, because of that, Mimir recognizes the witch's true identity, the goddess Freya. Yep, looks like we weren't the only ones hiding our true selves. So without any argument, we leave our house to head back to Tyr's temple to contact Jormungandr, since he knows the 2 items that we require to reach the land of the giants: a travel rune and some sort of chisel. So we head to the snowy plains to find the best stonemason's corpse. Laying cold and lifeless after his unsuccessful battle with Thor long ago, the cause of his death was him falling onto his own chisel and piercing his brain, as we can spot the chisel under the ice, so somehow we must get under there. Before that though, Atreus is looking a little bit chilly. Good thing Sindri is here for us to craft some new garments. By doing so, it gave me the best dress trophy. Now, all warm and ready to go, the 2 climb the structure to reach the very top, where there lies a massive hammer in a absolute perfect position to be knocked down. Ha, that worked perfectly, and there's the chisel right there for the taking. Ah, shit. These 2 again? Well, at least we know their true identities, Magny and Modi, who are the sons of Thor. Just like the stranger, they too are on a mission to kill Kratos, along with Atreus too. Now, being a 2v1 fight, this can be a little bit annoying to master, since they both end up targeting Kratos. So separating them is your best tactic. They also have these phases where you have to catch the direction that they are attacking from, which this is the easier part of the fight. For the end of the fight, I do recommend evening their health down to almost nothing, instead of just focusing on one of them, since by the time you've almost eliminated the second person, the first would have already revived themselves, thus resetting your progress. After you deplete both of their health bars, Atreus distracts Modi long enough for Kratos to land the killing blow, splitting Magny's head right through the middle, forcing Modi to retreat. Upon this victory, we get the Troubling Consequences trophy, along with a part of the chisel. With the chisel now in our possession, we are now able to break through these magically sealed doors, the mystery being an imprisoned Valkyrie. These are optional bosses that offer rare rewards to those who can best them, but keep in mind that these are very tough enemies to defeat. Now, there are 8 in total hidden across the realms, with a secret that gets revealed after all 8 are defeated, but that will stay a secret for a bit longer. So to start, with Gunnar being the easiest Valk out of the 8, meant that this was a nice test for the harder ones to come later, so we made very quick work of her before picking up her helm and leaving. After that very exhausting fight, we take some time out of our day to fully explore the Lake of Nine, since after that last talk with the Serpent, he actually lowers the water for a second time, revealing some more locations for us to explore. Then by this point, I'd explored the final location which unlocked the trophy beneath the surface. Now, using our brand new key, we find ourselves below the World Tree Room, with another sand basin to read. Atreus tries to teach his father something for once, but the 2 end up getting ambushed by a corrupt sounding Modi, still angry about his brother's death. You know, it's a valid feeling. With Modi having the upper hand on Kratos, Atreus channels a small part of his unknown god powers, but seems to do nothing as he collapses to the floor. This sparks a rage inside of Kratos as he pushes his way past Modi's lightning, injuring and then forcing him to retreat again. With Atreus laying cold and still, we take him to Freya's house hoping that she knows how to heal him. Unable to do anything at the moment, she mentions of an ingredient that can be found in the realm of the dead, that being Helheim. Sounds like a lovely place, right? But to make matters just that little bit worse, our axe is useless against the Hellwalkers that walk that realm.
Then I must return home.
There's nowhere you can hide, Spartan. Pretend to be everything you are not. Teacher, husband, father. You will always be a monster.
I know. But I am your monster no longer.
With the chains wrapped tightly around his forearms, the Blades of Chaos were now in our possession. Although this is something that Kratos did not want to experience again. But hey, at least I got some joy out of it with another trophy. Hello, old friend. So now with the right equipment, Kratos and Mimir head through the Realm Gate to enter Helheim, a cold, dark and depressing looking place. So I think it's probably best for all of us to get in and out quickly. We then stand toe to toe with the Bridgekeeper. You may think, you know, he's just your typical troll, but he has a few more added abilities. For example, like teleporting and then some other ranged attacks that do make this fight slightly more difficult. But knowing this is all for Atreus, Kratos ain't gonna let anything stop him as we kill the troll and then tear out his heart. Making it back just in time, we give Freya the heart as she manages to calm Atreus' fever and heal him. Well, that for the time being. We get the trophy promise fulfilled, which is a step in the right direction, but the only way that he will be healed is if he gets told the truth. And as much as it pains Kratos to do so, he reveals who he is and his past.
I'm a god, boy. From another land far from here, I was born a god. And so were you. Boy, have you nothing to say?
Can I turn into an animal?
Yeah, nothing bad will happen, I'm sure of it. So now with all that sorted and no Modi to mess things up again, they return to Tyr's temple to find the item that they have been looking for, the Black Rune. Unable to retrieve it at first, we do tackle a few puzzles which does result in a death that absolutely was not my fault. Hey, I blame Atreus for that one. After that quick scuffle, we acquire the Black Rune and kill the two trolls that were waiting to ambush us. With both the chisel and rune in our possession, we make haste to the top of the mountain once more. Then we bump into an injured Modi again. Clearly not acting as any type of a threat, Atreus goes against Kratos' orders and pierces his neck with his blade, killing him as his body gets punted off the edge. Now at this point, I kind of regret healing Atreus now, little shit. After a pretty stern talking to by Kratos, the two make it up to the Yenheim gate, but of course, things aren't as easy as they want to be, as Boulders shows up to spoil the party, which results in the two of them breaking the archway. Furious at his father for doing so, he stuns Kratos and then is kidnapped by Boulder. Yeah, nice going there, mate. I mean, I guess we should go get him, as much as I don't want to. They both pummel the shit out of each other before Kratos slices the dragon's wings and then causes them to crash near Tyr's temple. Luckily, they managed to stop Boulder from opening the Asgard gate, as of course we have our own Bifrost. And out of all the realms to send us to, it's the goddamn Helheim. Great, I just love being in the realm of the dead. I think it's safe to say that round 2 was a draw. Now, because we are in the deeper and darker part of Helheim, we start seeing visions of ourselves. Boulder too, in fact, as we eavesdrop on a conversation going on between the two figures. This is where we learn that Freya is actually Boulders' mother. It's a small little twist on things, since with the two being involved in our business, it can only end badly. Well, at least we get to maximize our rage meter, which unlocks the quick temper trophy. How are we going to get out of it, you may be wondering? Well, by flying this boat. Yep, you heard me right. By raising these sails upwards and lighting these campfires, we are actually able to lift the boat and swiftly float our way to freedom. We do have to deal with several enemies whilst doing so, but they aren't much of a problem. The boat ends up crashing as the two come plummeting down through the top of the temple into a room that we are very unfamiliar with. We get the Past Haunts trophy for escaping Helheim, but then we discover that this is actually a hidden chamber of Odin's. He's had this Jotnar shrine hidden away here, but there seems to be much more behind it, as the Jewel of the Giant's Eye and Mimir's Eye shows a hidden secret which is somewhere underneath Tyr's temple, which that requires a special key. Perhaps Brock might know some more about this. Unfortunately, Brock doesn't want to work on something so delicate and ladylike. Hey, good timing there, Sindri. Pushing their problems aside, the brothers craft the key. Ah, so cute seeing the two work together. Now, before we continue, I've got a few open world bits I need to get done first. So after exploring a bit more of the Lake of Nine, I managed to find the Niflheim cipher, which unlocks the trilingual trophy, but more importantly, allows us to use the room gate to travel there. Next up, we rescue our second dragon of the game, which means we only have one more to find to get that trophy. Lastly, I managed to maximize my health with another Nornir chest, which unlocks the Ion's Orchard trophy. Right, back to the story. Using the key that the two brothers made for us, we find Tyr's hidden chamber, as we appear to be directly under the realm travel room now. We can also see a weird mist where the Yenheim room should be, so Kratos comes up with the idea to flip the entire thing. It's held down by two chains, but without too much hassle, we do reach both of them and break them. With nothing holding it down, Kratos manages to flip the entire temple, as we now get to see what that mist was. It's called the Unity Stone, which Mimir obviously knew. This was the way that Tyr could walk through the realm between realms. So whilst travelling there before, you would have noticed a path that led to imminent death if you jumped off of it. But with the Unity Stone, that wouldn't be the outcome, as the two managed to land safely to find the Jotunheim Tower. Then using the Unity Stone again as a key, we get ambushed by all all sorts of enemies from the three realms, plus from Muspelheim that we are yet to explore. Now, before we continue with the story, at this point I had only one Wayward Spirit side quest to finish. So we return to the father, telling him the news of his son's death, which eases his mind and unlocks the trophy unfinished business. We learn from the brothers that Thor's statue had a hidden compartment inside, built by Odin. You know, the one that was destroyed by an angry serpent. So with no other choice, we contact Jormungandr, and he obliges just like that. As disgusting as this probably felt, this did feel pretty cool to be rowing a boat through a giant snake. Can't name too many games I've done that in. We find Mimir's second eye and slot it into his face pretty easily, but all is not what it seems, as the serpent gets a bit restless as the water starts to get choppy. Then the boat gets flipped and it turns to darkness. Shortly after, they get thrown out of the snake close to where Tharma's body lies. They wonder what happened and why they are where they are, but then Freya joins the two. Now knowing the truth to who she is and her family, they stay a bit hesitant as they don't trust her. She mentions that she is looking for her son and, oh, would you look at that? Hey, Boulder. So he was actually the one hurting the snake trying to force us out. So long story short, Boulder's invulnerability is actually a curse that was put on him by his mother, meaning that he doesn't feel anything, so I guess his hatred is somewhat understandable. Trying to get him to see some sort of light in this situation and denying that help, Kratos steps in the way to stop him from hurting Freya. Then just like their first encounter, they both start to pummel each other once more, knowing it's going to do absolutely nothing. Atreus does take a hit for Kratos, and although at first it appeared to be his blood he was covered in, he actually managed to lure Boulder in and pierce him with the mistletoe arrow, meaning that this son of a bitch's curse has been lifted, leaving him completely vulnerable now. That pisses Freya off, so she takes matters into her own hands. Okay, maybe not exactly her hand per se, but you get what I mean. This whole situation is all very messy. You got Boulder wanting to kill his mother because of the curse that she put on him. You got us trying to stop him from harming her. Then finally you got Freya, who's also trying to stop us from harming him by reanimating Tharma and bringing him into the mix. Ugh, my brain just hurts trying to take this all in. Anyway, now that Boulder could be harmed, the next few fights actually feel like I'm now doing something. Similar to his previous encounters, he does make you mix up your attacks with the axe and the blade to chaos, depending on what attack he's about to do himself. I will say, having these action sequences while on the body of a giant is pretty cool. Definitely a good way to mix things up. Then on his third and final phase, the two of them work in perfect sync to beat him to a bloody pulp, before Tharma stops us again, but turns out Atreus has got something hidden up his sleeves. Well, I guess you gotta fight fire with fire. Wanting to put a stop to Boulder once and for all, Kratos lets him live, accepting that he's no longer a threat, hoping to teach Atreus that valuable lesson. Let's just let them sort out their mother-son problems, eh? Damn it, I thought we were done with all this. Choosing to not walk away, Kratos squeezes every bit of life from his body before snapping his neck, knowing that this time that did the job. In absolute tears over her son's death, Freya wishes every horrible and nightmarish thing upon us, because, well, that's expected for killing her son, before leaving with his body in her arms. We get the Twilight Beckons trophy for killing Boulder, and now we have a straight path to Yenheim with nothing else to stop us. Back to the travel room, as we use Mimir's newly restored vision to activate the travel room, thus opening the door to Jotunheim. Mimir does ask to be left behind since this is between them, so what better person to hold a decapitated head?
I can do this. No, I can't.
Okay, at least Sindri gave it a go. So with everything that has happened throughout the game, you may be thinking as to why it had to be the peak in Jotunheim that Faye requested for her ashes to be released. The reason and massive twist for the game is that she's in fact a giant, which is how Atreus revealed these drawings with a simple touch. This shows their entire story because he is actually half giant along with the other half being a god. It's a pretty good mix if you had to ask me. Atreus continues on as Kratos notices something that maybe he shouldn't have seen. Yeah, let's keep that one a secret between us two, shall we? They finally reach the peak to discover the countless amounts of bodies laying still across the land. As the two reach into the pouch to sprinkle the ashes, and now with their final quest finished, Atreus wonders one last thing. The name the giants would call him that he read back on that wall.
Loki?
Huh, sounds familiar. Not to Kratos though, so they leave that be for the time being and then they say their farewells to Jotunheim and to Faye herself, obtaining the trophy Last Wish. We find Mimir's head on the floor as he got a little bit too irritated by the bickering brothers. So we place him back in his spot and just like that, that concludes the amazing story that God of War has to offer. Man, what a great job they did with it. I'll keep my opinions of it to the very end since even the game reminds us that we still have a bunch of more exploring to do and the rest of the trophies to gather. But before that, the two return home since I think they deserve a well-needed rest, don't you? But they get awoken by a very unexpected guest. Now, I'm sure you are all just as excited for Ragnarok as I am, but we still need to get this platinum done, so let's get to it. So to start off, I decided to head to Conan's Guard, since I had one more mission left to do for Brock and Sindri. At the same time, this area also had the third and final dragon imprisoned. Now, along the way, I was making sure that I was killing all of the Draugr and Hellwalkers, since at this point I was very close to killing 1,000 enemies, so I was able to get the Allwheel Fall trophy pretty quickly. Shortly after that, I reached Regin and broke all 3 restraints, releasing him from his chains and flying away, which unlocked the Dangerous Skies trophy. Then to finish off this area, we completed the Hell to the King quest and returned to the boys to obtain the trophy Like Oil and Water. So you think after playing this game for almost 25 hours, my current build for Kratos would have been somewhat decent, right? Well, turns out I hadn't actually fully upgraded any of my runic attacks. No wonder I've got so much XP just sitting there to be used. So I upgraded possibly the best runic attack in the game to level 3 and unlocked the best moves trophy. I then chose to get all of the collectible based trophies done, that being all of the artifacts, which unlocked the Curator trophy, the rest of Odin's Ravens, as the All-Father Blinded trophy unlocks. Lastly, I found the last treasure map location, which I will say it's fun trying to figure out all these locations that these maps are referring to, so I get the Treasure Hunter trophy for that. Next up, I had 2 armor crafting related trophies, where all I had to do was craft 2 different sets of armor, the Ancient and the Traveler sets. Never having to use these by this point in the game, I had plenty of materials to craft both of them, so I got the trophies Primordial and Path for the Zealot without any need to grind crafting materials, thank God. Now, we say goodbye to Midgard, as we have 2 new realms to travel to for these last sets of trophies. The first area being Muspelheim. It's a pretty cool looking area if you ask me. We do find the last Jotnar shrine here, which unlocks the Truth trophy, but the main reason as to why we are here is for the Trials of Muspelheim. Now, each trial has multiple different challenges requiring you to complete these in different ways, like killing enemies within a certain amount of time, killing enemies in certain spots marked in the area, and even one for preventing Atreus from being captured. With 5 trials in total, each having a normal and hard challenge to get through, you'll end up on the very top of the Burning Mountain as another Valkyrie awaits a fight. Proving to be too much of a match for her, must have been those runic attack upgrades I did surely. We managed to kill her first time. She drops a Raging Inferno of Muspelheim Flame for us, which is the final item that we need to upgrade my blade to Chaos. Doing so, this would unlock the Why Fight It trophy. The final trial requires you to kill a certain amount of enemies for each of the medals under a time limit. The great thing about this though is that you don't actually have to get 70 for the gold. I ended up being 12 short for it when the timer ended, giving me a silver medal, but I still got the Fire and Brimstone trophy for completing all of the trials of Muspelheim. Right, time to turn down the heat a bit, as we now must head to the other area that we've not been to yet, the realm being Niflheim. A very vast change in scenery, as it's very gloomy and hard to see through all of this mist. There is a bar at the top of the screen which slowly starts to chip down. Then once that hits 0, your health would then start to deplete, meaning that you can spend very little time in the mist before it kills you. Now the whole purpose of this place is to collect enough mist echoes that you'll find in random chests hidden throughout the mist, which can then be used to craft special armor to endure the damage of the mist for longer. Then in this center room, we must open all of the chests and close all of the realm tears in order to finish this realm. There is also the 8th and last hidden Valkyrie here, but she isn't much of a problem since by this point you're pretty powerful for anything that you need to fight. Apart from that, that's pretty much what this realm is about. It's my most hated place personally, since it requires so much grinding of going through, killing enemies, collecting echoes, and then repeating the process. You have to do this a bunch of times since you need a ton of them to access the realm tears needed for the trophy. Along the way though, I did manage to fully upgrade my Leviathan axe, which gave me the Worthy trophy. Then with the last realm tear available, throwing a Soul Devourer to try and stop us, but luckily these are some of the easiest enemies to defeat. So he put them down for good and opened the realm tear to unlock the Darkness of Fog trophy, meaning we can leave Niflheim for good. With one final quest to accomplish for the Platinum, there is an area to the north of the Lake of Nine where there are these 8 thrones positioned in the shape of a circle. These are what the Valkyrie helms are for, and because we have defeated all 8 of them, we can now place each of them upon a specific throne to then unlock another realm tear to take on the Queen of the Valkyries, Sigrun. Now, this bitch doesn't mess around. Expect yourself to be on this boss for a while, since she is very deadly with all of her attacks. She does copy some of the other Valkyries' attacks, so some may seem familiar, but also some others that are completely new and will 100% catch you off guard. I do recommend bringing a Resurrection Stone, because some of her final attacks will kill you quickly, so better to be prepared. Also, do not bother with your runic attacks towards the late stages of this fight, because you don't want to end up like me. Right, come on Kratos, stop messing around. You're a demigod, you're the ghost of Sparta. It's time to lock in and obtain this plat once and for all. In the end though, we do get the best of her as we deplete her health to 0 and free her from her imprisoned self. We find out that after Freya's wings had been severed with Sigrun taking her place, Odin used magic to corrupt her sisters, in which she imprisoned them herself to prevent them from causing any harm. We end the conversation as she leaves to reunite with her sisters, which pops the Chooser of the Slain trophy, and then shortly after finally obtaining that platinum trophy father and son, cementing our place in the God of War franchise for good. Now to start, let's get the bad points out the way with first. Weird, I can't find the list that I wrote. You'd think I'd have any bad things to say about this game. What can I fault? The game is visually incredible. Like, how can you not stare at that view for hours and hours? Every character had their own unique look and fitted perfectly into the game. The combat is fun and engaging, but also challenging at the right times. Then trophy-wise, they're all fairly easy to get. Okay, maybe the Muspelheim and Niflheim areas were a tiny bit too grinding for my liking, but at least they didn't take up too much of my time. I won't say the game is perfect, so a strong 9 out of 10 is what I'd rate this game. Now, for any of you that are wondering, Ragnarok won't be following this straight after, since for my next Platinum playthrough, as you guys may have seen live on stream, I've been grinding my way through the entirety of the Uncharted series, another beloved PlayStation classic. So stay tuned for that one to come, because it's going to be a big one, I promise you that. Thank you all for taking your time to watch the video and just for the whole support on the channel as a whole. As always, if you did enjoy the video, please make sure you do like it and obviously then sub to the channel while you're at it. Have a wonderful rest of your day and I will see you all in the next video.